To recognize for 5 minutes Representative Jefferson Shreve, who is joining us today without objection. Representative?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this opportunity to sit in with the committee today. I've been working on this issue closely as a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, on the South Central Asia Subcommittee. These scam centers, as those of us on the dais and in the room recognize, aren't isolated fraud shops. They're part of a much larger criminal ecosystem. However, many folks beyond this room, including our colleagues, aren't as informed as we want and need them to be, and our constituents aren't as informed as we want and need them to be. I founded the Congressional Stop Scams Caucus with my colleague Zach Nunn and 2 Democrat colleagues toward broadening that effort. These scam centers steal from Americans. They steal from my constituents back in Indiana. They traffic and enslave workers. This is a crime with victims on 2 sides of the globe. They launder money. They operate in places where corrupt officials, criminal networks, and hostile actors look the other way and profit from the enterprise. The important point, or one of the important points, is this. Beijing, since that's the focus of this committee's work, doesn't have to centrally direct every scam compound for this to be a China-linked national security threat. Selective inaction can be enough. PRC-originated criminal networks, China-facing financial systems, corrupt host governments, online platforms, crypto rails, and weak law enforcement environments reinforce each other. And Americans, our constituents, end up paying the price. Ms. West, Mr. Sims, Mr. Tower, your work has helped to bring this issue to the attention of Congress and the American people, as all of us on this committee, House Foreign Affairs committees and others are working on this as well. That's why I led the bipartisan Dismantle Foreign Scam Syndicate Act, which Chairman Molinar co-led with me. It passed unanimously out of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, unanimously 48-0. As observed before, this is not a bipartisan issue. This is a nonpartisan issue. The bill creates a dedicated interagency task force led by our State Department to coordinate federal response to these foreign scam syndicates. The task force arising from this legislation can't be symbolic. It has to produce an operating picture, identify the people, the networks that protect these compounds, track the money, support the victims, and prevent the operations from simply moving from one weak jurisdiction to the next. Much of today's hearing has focused on the scale of the problem, China's role, and the threat these networks pose to Americans. So I want to ask a question or two, as time may allow, as to what comes next. Ms. West, from a victim side, you share the stories of Chris, of Don, of Mary. These aren't ordinary fraud cases. Victims are manipulated for months. They lose retirement savings. My own constituents, I've had some lose homes, home equity assets, their retirements. From your perspective, what is the current U.S. response still miss about the victim experience, and what needs to change from a victim reporting standpoint, financial institutions, so we can move fast enough? We know speed matters. So we can move fast enough to freeze funds before they disappear.
Thank you so much for the question. This is something that is doable and is not difficult. We need a central reporting system. We need one reporting system. We don't need victims reporting to all 17 3-letter agencies, and we need somebody on the other side of that reporting portal that is sending a thank you, we got your message, we are looking into this message. And then we need a team of analysts who is on this. We don't need to be training every single individual in every jurisdiction how to trace cryptocurrency. We need a staff, a team of dedicated analysts who do this all day, every day, and who can look immediately at those addresses and say, is there anything that can be done with those? We are doing this in isolation, in pockets, in silos. We are not talking to each other. After 4 years of this, there is no reason that we don't bring everyone into a room just like this and say, show us your puzzle pieces. And let's start putting this thing together because it's not that hard. It's doable if you have the will and the resources to do it.
I thank you for that. I would observe that from my seat now on appropriations. I aim to continue this fight on behalf of our constituents because it does take resources to move, as was observed in the comments earlier, aggressively, smartly, briskly. And so I'll continue the fight from the Appropriations Committee as well. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much. Representative Shreve.
Thank you for this additional opportunity, Mr. Chairman. My question would be best, well, actually directed to all three of you. If H.R. 5490, the Dismantle Foreign Scam Syndicate Act, which is moved through the Foreign Affairs Committee, passes and becomes the law of the land, and this interagency task force is stood up, what should success look like in the first 90 days or so? I'm not asking for broad goals, but from concrete early actions. What should Congress expect from our State Department, DOJ, DHS, intelligence community, and our embassies in the region if we get this through a floor vote?
Well, maybe to start off internationally, I mean, I think one key gap that you have is, there are now large numbers of devices that are in places like Thailand and the Philippines, lots of intelligence that's out there that is ready to be harvested and investigated. And I think currently you're already seeing a big uptick in terms of U.S. partnerships with Thailand, U.S. partnerships with the Philippines and other countries where you have frontline states that are really looking to try to play a role in solving these challenges. I think in the first 90 days, if that cooperation can be bolstered fivefold, tenfold, such that more and more of that intelligence is being harvested. More and more of the cases can simply be traced down. We can get a better and fuller understanding of the modalities of the scams, the range of victims that are being targeted. I mean, I think all of those things could happen early on if simply adequate resources are put into that type of intelligence coordination and gathering in some of the different countries where you have cross-border access into what's going on in the scam compounds. So I think that that's a key area for progress to be happening internationally.
So I'd add 3 quick points. One, our embassies and our regional bureaus need clear direction on where this sits amongst a wide array of competing priorities. I mentioned an individual in my opening testimony who remains unsanctioned, unindicted by the U.S. government. Taking action against that person would have serious bilateral implications for the U.S. government. Who's making the decisions right now on how important are those ramifications vis-a-vis the harms that are being lost by American citizens due to his criminal activity? We need clear direction on that. Second, we need to move to codify into statute things like the Scam Center Strike Force, which is not symbolic. It's not perfect, but it is doing real good that was not being done before. But it is statutorily fragile. It exists purely because it was created, and we need to find a way to integrate that into the larger infrastructure of the Department of Justice, so that long after the individuals who are spearheading that effort are gone, that help to Americans remains. And the last is we need to get tighter reins on the decentralized finance organizations, both the exchanges and the large stablecoins, who currently have a relationship that has significant asymmetry with our law enforcement, but law enforcement and judgments from civil cases, as well as our sanctioning actions. Effectively right now, because of some jurisdictional issues, when a wallet receives a judgment on it or gets designated with a sanction, effectively a one-off bilateral negotiation happens with that platform, and that is not doing the best good for the harms that are befalling Americans, and that issue actually extends, the risks there extend well beyond this issue. Treasury announced a couple of weeks ago that they seized something like $300 million for that from Iranian sanctions-related wallets, which actually had links back to Way1, which is involved in pig butchering. Each of those seizures actually involved direct correspondence between lawyers that were representing Tether. That basically they said, okay, we'll do it this time, but it's not. There's no compulsion. These crypto firms need access to the U.S. market, but they are not actually legally compelled to comply with U.S. law, and they make voluntary concessions in each one of these cases, and that something along those lines needs to change as well.
If I may just reclaim my time before my time expires, I want to thank the witnesses, all three of you, for your work in fighting scams and working with our team toward advancing this legislation. I'm grateful for that. And Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your leadership on this subject as well. I yield back.